Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, welcome, and I hope you stay here and I hope you like what you hear. These are going to be your messages for the month of October. I have made a point on most of the videos to be very vocal about what my intention is with these messages. And I was actually asked by my spiritual team to let you know what that intention is and the purpose for why I do this. And the main reason why I do this for you, why I give you messages, is to give you tools and understandings so that you can apply it in your life in a way that allows you to feel freer, to feel much more empowered, to feel less stuck, to feel much happier. So that is what my intention is with every single message that I receive from Spirit. So whether you are a Taurus or whether you are Virgo, whether you are Scorpio or some other sign, whatever comes through these messages for you, they're meant to make you think, they're meant to make you stop and pause, and they're meant to make you reevaluate perhaps some things in your life. That also means that the focus isn't as much on predictions, and the basic idea for it, or the main reason for it, is the predictive component of your future is very much tied to you and who you are as a person and what your beliefs are. So for me to say this is going to happen is very much dependent on where you're at. And I think most of you get that. But my greatest joy and my greatest wish for you is always to hear that my messages help you, because they help you stop and think, and as a result of that you reevaluate some things, you shuffle some things in your mind, and you begin to have a brand new perspective which changes your perception of everything. So that is my intention for you, and it's important that I say this to you so that when you listen to this, you may say, that's not for me, I want to know what's going to happen. Or you may say, this is exactly for me because I want to know what's preventing me from certain things in my life. These messages, as you notice, are coming early for you. I will try to make it a habit of making them early. It is not the easiest task with my full plate, but I will do the best I can. I am also going to be offering live sessions on YouTube, so stay tuned. And I will do my best to do one in October. So stay tuned. This will be, I will let you know. And as always, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Without you, I always say, I wouldn't do this. And it brings me great joy and great happiness to see your comments on how my messages help you. And I think that's all I have. I hope you enjoy these. Of course, if it doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of when you hear it, listen to it towards the end of the month. You guys tell me that more often than not, it applies to you way more. So without further ado, let's get moving. Hello Pisces, these are going to be your messages for the month of October 2018. Let me start off with some channeled messages. Right away, I am seeing the symbol of death, the card death in a traditional tarot deck, which symbolizes transformation. But I do not feel that this is a transformation that you are just starting or beginning. I feel this is a part of your transformation that is happening, where the result of your shift and change is starting to show itself to you. I'm trying to think what I said because I just literally spit that out. In other words, you are transforming in a way that you remember who you don't want to be anymore, and therefore you choose to pursue your own happiness. It sounds to me like many of you have sacrificed yourself in some way in order to satisfy somebody else, satisfy feeling of safety, satisfy, I don't know, the person you're with, whatever reason. There is an element of you having to give up on something. and that something is going to return once again. For some of you, it's as simple, although not really simple, as feeling free once again, because you are no longer are going to feel tied down to a situation. Now, anytime we are tied down to a situation, it implies that there is not a lot of room to move. So what it tells me is that many of you have either completed or about to complete a very long-standing cycle, and this is about overcommitting to other people over and above yourself. And essentially what this in English to me means in English is you sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of someone else's. Whether it is in a marriage, it is in a friendship, family dynamic, of course at work, you could have been doing something you did not like for a really long time and it just was there because it paid you money. Many of you are completing that cycle. In other words, you're not all quitting jobs, obviously, and you're not all leaving marriages, obviously, but you will feel this in the way you feel about yourself, which will then allow you to make different choices and decisions that will no longer be about pleasing others. In other ways, what they're saying is you are learning how to put yourself first. And congratulations on that, because it is not an easy thing for us humans to do. Is that right? I guess that's right. Yeah, a lot of us are pleasers. A lot of us come from homes when we didn't have stability on some level. I'm just closing my email. And lack of it in your life on some level made you believe that you need to overcompensate or overgive or whatever in order to sustain yourself, but you are not taking you into account. I hope this is making sense. This is basically talking about not a belief system, yes, but situations in your life where you have felt stuck to the point where you kind of lost all hope for things getting better. And now you are choosing to do something different for yourself and by yourself. And the number 10 is a sign of completion. What is it that I'm seeing? For those of you, I feel like you have been pulling other people's weight. I don't know what that means. Okay, you have been lifting others for them to feel better, to feel happier, to feel more strong, to feel secure. You spend a lot of energy on uplifting others, but you didn't give yourself the same care and attention. And when you did that for a very long time, you realized that there was something profoundly missing, and you were too deep into that situation, and then you decided just to I guess forget about it. So hope is not gone. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm assuming you do. So again, congratulations. The death card, or the death transformation, is being shown. It's all about healing. One of the first cards you have is actually healing. So as the process of you achieving a brand new aspect in your life, will be going through some internal turmoil. So it is important for you to be able to speak your mind. Why? Because those of you who this makes sense for, you have a tendency to suppress your emotions. You don't want other people to see you as weak. So in order to be perceived as a strong individual, you choose to kind of numb your feelings and emotions. So that's going to be very important. I'm actually seeing a male doing that, which males do a lot, females also. But this is more likely than not something in a partnership of a personal nature, or in a relationship where you hold the person above you, or somehow your sense of value was not as important in your mind as the person you are with. I have a feeling this is a relationship. So anyway, all that is gone. So I pulled a few different cards and I just asked different questions. I said, what's happening in October? Well, you have healing, crisis, and purging. So if this doesn't change, I don't know what is. Incidentally, number 5 and 6 is number 11. 11 is 2. 1 and 2. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So choices and decisions. Yes, 11 is a number of balance to me. So what it represents is that whatever turmoil you are going through, and many of us are, whatever things are shifting and changing, you will be better as a result of this. So it sounds to me like some of you will be at least internally feeling like there is turmoil coming up, and you'll be questioning things. You'll be questioning situations in your life, and you'll be coming up with a whole bunch of different ideas that now make you feel all confused. And point is, there's a lot of healing that's taking place right now, and as a result of that, you'll be able to dump some unfinished business, so you don't drag it forward. What's unfinished business? Anything emotional that you are connected to that you're holding back, any sort of childhood pain, memories that constantly feed you feeling bad. And I hear somebody saying, well, how can everybody has problems from the past? Absolutely, every single human being. There's no question about it. As a matter of fact, I think that's why we're here. So we are here to learn from our shortcomings. Point is, not everybody gets to the point where they forget about themselves in order to please somebody else. So I don't even know why I went there. But point is, there's a lot of healing and therefore shifting and changing in the month of October. But it's going to keep on going, because I'm also here in November and well onto next year. So if you are going through something like this in your life, I want to say congratulations. For some of you, I want to say I'm sorry, because it's maybe something that didn't work out. And for some of you, I want to say get away from there as fast as you can. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Chances are, though, you might be going through some shifts where at least internally something is not feeling great, and some things might come up to the surface. Let that be okay. Allow yourself to feel it. That's also often a sign of some of the things that are coming up in order to be healed, so that you don't drag it forward. Incidentally, the next card you have is Why in protection. And this is literally a message that says, this is not the time refusing to not be true with yourself. This is not the time refusing to see the obvious. This is not the time to be in denial. So if you have been struggling with something and you've been putting off the effort to do something about it or with it, this is one of those times where you should no longer ignore what is right in front of you. So this is going to be for those of you who are perhaps resisting changes, not wanting to face certain things, and not allowing life give to you because you are firmly stuck on your belief right now, and it's almost like you can't see through it. The next card you have is Poised. So one of the reasons why you are going through healing and purging and letting go of stuff that's based in denial, it's because you are ready for something new. So I hear this is your opportunity to fly. For many of you, this is one of those times where things happen or things align in such a way that you have no choice but to proceed forward or to proceed to something new. So something that might have been once uncomfortable, and change usually is, will eventually be seen as blessing in disguise. And blessing it is, although you can't see it. And I'm sure some of you are dealing with things where they're going to say, well, you're saying to me, Joanna, have you lost your mind? The things I'm going through, like, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. Hence why fears are coming up. So this is the Devil card. What is the Devil card? It's all about the things we believe that bind us, that keep us stuck, that keep us in a fear mode, that keep us not good enough, that keep us, all those things we keep ourselves from becoming a better version of ourselves. Anything that you limit yourself with or by, any sort of fear-based convictions you have, this is a time where some of those will come up and you will have to face it. But when you face it, at least you have the opportunity to fix it, quote unquote, fix it. How? By first and foremost, stop pretending that it's not there. number one. I'll end up, ego will do that. Ego will say, no, I'm very confident. Everything is fine. And yet there is this underlying fear. So when those come up, those are opportunities for you to see what your mind and body is signaling to you. In other words, pay attention. I'm still here. I also want to say, don't be too proud to acknowledge your feelings. Some of you have difficulty feeling, and this is something that was acquired while growing up. It's something you've learned, but it is difficult for you to express your emotions. Now, I'm going back and saying, why? No, first of all, why are they doing that? So some of you is your extreme sensitivity to your environment. In other words, you're someone who has overhyped sensitivity as far as perception and perceiving other people's energy and emotions. So you're like a sponge. You're like a walking, energetic sponge that sucks up other people's feelings and emotions because you're so fine-tuned or not wired in a bad way, but your vibration is high. I'm going to say it. So that's for some of you. For some of you, you just learned how to hide because that was the way you had to behave. So you had to be quiet. You had to be there in a corner. That's where your place is. So you decided because you realize you can't speak, so you shut yourself down. So that's going to be for some of you. For some of you, it's just living in a place where there was constant yelling and fighting, and you pleaded for people to stop, and no one heard you, and eventually you decided to call it a day. I'm going to be done talking, and you squashed your emotions. So hugely, hugely important to pay attention for those of you who don't want to feel. You also have shamanic journey. So for some of you, this is a healing, something to look into, shamanic healing or shamanic journey, because it shows me that some of you could potentially be starting a brand new journey, and this would be as a result of you having to gone through some healing. For some of you, I hear the word classes. You might be interested in something of that nature, and that involving yourself in that activity, number one, is good, but also it inspires you to do something else or to lead you somewhere else. So that is going to be a message for some of you. I also have the serendipity card, which is talking about things coming seemingly out of nowhere, there being luck. The symbol of 4-leaf clover is being shown. So luck is around you, and you are undergoing, for some of you, some challenging situations. I also want to show you have a Page of Pentacles, which for some of you, this is a brand new job. This is something that is on the horizon. There is an opportunity being presented to you or in the works. This can be in a relationship, it can be a new job, it can be a new whatever is of the physical nature. But you are ready to move on. So perhaps for some of you, this is the blessing in disguise. Perhaps for some of you, this is the results of your hard work that you are starting to see. And for others of you, I hope all these different pieces and bits make sense. Is there anything else I need to tell them? For some of you, I hear stop proving yourself correct. And I'm going, what does that mean? And I'm seeing that some of you continually choose to put yourself in a situation where your heart is either broken or you get hurt. And if that is the case, if you've been in relationships and they all end the same and they all leave you brokenhearted and they all make you feel like crap, as an example, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this to myself? What is it that I'm getting out of this? And I feel like I've said this to you before. So take note of that, because that came up as something really important. Is there anything else? And for others of you, the message is release your fears. I know, easier said than done, but when you have a fear and you actually extrapolate all the different components and you look at each component rather than being overwhelmed, you begin to realize that the very thing that you fear of almost never exists. It's always a product of our imagination, and it's based on some fundamental fears. And then you begin to realize that the things that you are worried about, the chances of those happening are almost none. However, the mind gets overwhelmed with emotions, and when that happens, a part of your brain stops functioning and it stops being logical. So, but when you get into that space and you start to extrapolate the different components of your fear, you can then go one by one in a logical order and bring yourself back to more of a peaceful state where you can function properly. I hope that makes sense. That was an interesting thing. Okay, thank you so much. I hope, again, it does make sense. This might have happened to you in September. I am recording this the beginning, actually, of September. This may be happening to you very soon. But point is, if it doesn't make sense to you right now, listen to it at the end of the month or perhaps the next. Best of luck to you for private session. That information is down below in the show more section. And until next time, best of luck.